2nd, 2021, meeting of the City of Miami City Commission in these historic chambers. Procedures for the public comment will be explained by the City Attorney shortly. Procedures for the swearing in of parties with planning and zoning and/or quasi-judicial items will be explained by the City Clerk. The members of the City Commission appearing before this meeting are Alex Diaz de la Portilla, Joe Carollo, Manolo Reyes, Jeffrey Watson, and me, Ken Russell, your chair. Also appearing are City Manager Art Noriega, City Attorney Victoria Mendez, and City Clerk Todd Hannon. The meeting will be opened with a prayer by Commissioner Carollo, along with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Reyes. Please stand.
Thank you for all the blessings that you have given to Miami and to each one of us. Please keep guiding Miami and keep your hand over our city for protection. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Good morning, Commissioner Watson. Good morning, Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla. Madam City Attorney, please state the procedures to be followed during this meeting.
Thank you, Chairman. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the Code must register with the City Clerk and comply with related City Commission requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available in the City Clerk's office or online at www.municode.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the City Commission concerning real property must make the disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of the code section is available at the office of the City Clerk or online at www.municode.com. The City of Miami requires anyone requesting action by the City Commission must disclose before the hearing any consideration provided or committed to anyone for agreement to support or withhold an objection to requested action pursuant to City Code Section 2-8. Any documents offered to the City Commissioners that have not been provided 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda items will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion. In accordance with Section 2-33F and G of the City Code, the agenda and material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at www.miamigov.com. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair and upon registering pursuant to the published notice for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission unless modified by the chair. Public comment will begin at approximately 9 a.m. or soon thereafter and remain open until public comment is closed by the chairperson. Members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by submitting their written comments via online comment form. Please visit www.miamigov.com/meeting instructions for detailed instructions on how to provide public comment using the online comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form have been distributed to the elected officials and city administrations throughout the day so the elected officials can consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the elected officials up until the chair closes public comment. All comments submitted will be included as part of the public record for this meeting and will be considered by the City Commission prior to taking any action. Public comment may also be provided live at City Hall, 3500 Pan American Drive, subject to any COVID-19 rules, regulations, and procedures. Speakers who appear in person will be subject to screening for symptoms of COVID-19. Any persons exhibiting any symptoms of COVID-19 will not be permitted to enter City Hall. All interested parties are required to abide by state, county, and local emergency orders and are urged to practice social distancing. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the member of the public must first state his or her name, his or her address, and what item will be spoken about. Any person with a disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the City Clerk. The City has provided different public comment methods to indicate, among other things, the public support, opposition, or neutrality on the items and topics being discussed at the City Commission meeting in compliance with Section 286.0114 4C. The public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting and within reasonable proximity in time before the meeting. Please note, commissioners have been briefed by city staff and the city attorney on items on the agenda today. Anyone wishing to appeal any decision made by the city commission for any matter considered at this meeting may need a verbatim record of the item. A video of this meeting may be requested at the Office of Communications or viewed online at www.miamigov.com. For PZ items shall proceed according to Section 7.1.4 of the Miami 21 zoning ordinance as temporarily modified pursuant to emergency ordinance numbers 13903 and 13914. Pursuant to these orders, parties for any PC items, including any applicant, appellant, appellee, city staff, or any person recognized by a decision-making body as a qualified intervener, as well as the applicant's representatives and experts testifying on behalf of the applicant, appellee, or appellant, may either be physically present at City Hall to be sworn in by oath or affirmation by the city clerk, or may appear virtually and make arrangements to be sworn in by oath or affirmation in person at their location by an individual qualified to perform such duty. Pursuant to Emergency Ordinance Number 13903, members of the general public who are not parties to an action pending before the City Commission are not required to be sworn in by oath or affirmation. The members of the City Commission shall disclose any ex parte communications to remove the presumption of prejudice pursuant to Florida Statute 286.0115 and Section 7.1.4.5 of the Miami 21 zoning ordinance. Staff will briefly present each item to be heard. For applications requiring City Commission approval, the applicant will present its application or request to the City Commission. If the applicant agrees with the staff recommendation, the City Commission may proceed to its deliberation and decision. The applicant may waive the right to an evidentiary hearing on the record. The order of presentation shall be as set forth in Miami 21 and the City Code, providing the appellant shall present first. For appeals, the appellant will present its appeal to City Commission, followed by the appellee. Staff will be allowed to make any recommendations they may have. Please silence all cell phones and other noise-making devices. This meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV, the city's Facebook page, the city's Twitter page, the city's YouTube channel, and Comcast Channel 77. The broadcast will also have closed captioning. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. Good morning, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. Procedures for individuals who providing testimony to be sworn in for planning and zoning items and any quasi-judicial items on today's City Commission agenda will be as follows. The members of city staff or any other individuals required to be sworn in who are currently present at City Hall will be sworn in by me, the City Clerk, immediately after I finish explaining these procedures. Those individuals who are appearing remotely may be sworn in now or at any time prior to the individual providing testimony for planning and zoning items and/or quasi-judicial items. Pursuant to Emergency Ordinance Number 13903, those individuals appearing remotely may be sworn in at their location by an individual qualified to administer the oath. After you are sworn in, please be sure to complete, sign, and notarize the affidavit provided to you by the City Attorney's Office. Each individual who will provide testimony must be sworn in and execute an affidavit. Please email a scanned version of the signed affidavit to the City Clerk at thannon@miamigov.com prior to providing testimony on the planning and zoning item and/or quasi-judicial item. The affidavit shall be included in the record for the relevant item for which you'll be providing testimony. Commissioners, are you comfortable with all the notice provisions set forth in these uniform rules of procedures we have established for this meeting?
Yes.
Chair, may I move forward with administering the oath?
Yes, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If you'll be speaking on any of today's planning and zoning items, may I please have you stand and raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at today's meeting is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And your response is? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We have some protocol items that I'd like to take care of at this point for many of our police force who are here and would like to get on with the business of their day. So if we could move actually we'll do protocol down front as usual so we can leave the chairs where they are. So you have the floor, Mr. Leal.
Thank you, Commissioner Rosso.
Shall we all come down for the photos?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Get some exercise before we sit. If I can invite Commander Lewis, Commander Ellington, Commander Gabriel, Commander Papier, and Commander Garrido to join us here, please. And thank you for being here today. If we can get an initial round of applause, that would be appreciated. Thank you, Commissioners. Yo sé, yo sé. The mayor wanted to recognize the great service that all of you do on a regular basis here at the city. We all know and appreciate that wearing the badge, wearing the color blue, and answering the call is never easy. You're always confronted with challenges when you're going to disembark and engage our resident. And unfortunately, it's never an easy situation when you're called to serve. And we appreciate the hard work. I know reading your bios that most of you have spent decades with the department. You all have a family, and we wanted to honor your service in our community. I'm gonna read briefly the certificate of merit that is being issued, and then I'm gonna defer one of them with Commissioner Reyes wanted to address one in particular. So with that, I thank you, and I think I speak on behalf of all the commissioners that we thank you for your service and keeping our street and quality of life safe for our residents. So thank you. Thank you. In no particular order, but we're going to start with the Grove, given that we are here. Commander Lewis, in recognition of her excellent service, the City of Miami issues a certificate of merit. Commander Louis Francois is the current commander for the City of Miami Police Department, Coconut Grove Net Service Area. In February of 2020, she was promoted to the rank of police commander and assigned to the Coconut Grove Net Area. In addition, she commands over the City of Miami Ceremonial Honor Guard Detail, which is in fact how I first met Commander Lewis as we were preparing to honor our former mayor, Maurice Ferrer, and the funeral services. And I have to personally attest to her dedication, attention to detail, and service. So thank you for that time. And the City of Miami Honor Guard is one of the major symbols of the police department. She has worked with many organizations and currently holds memberships or mentors with the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, Haitian American Chamber of Commerce of Florida, Girl Power Inc., Big Brothers Big Sister, and the City of Miami Police Athletic League. She's currently married with 3 beautiful children. In her spare time, she enjoys cooking, sports, entertaining friends and family, and teaching. She plans to continue to excel through the ranks, making a positive, long-lasting impact in the community. I am confident that you will continue to excel and to serve in our community to advance our quality of life and contribute to Miami. Thank you, Commander Lewis. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Commander Ellington is a little bit near and dear to my heart because I enjoy, my residents enjoy her service because I also live in Brickell. So Commander Ellington, in recognition of her excellent service, the City of Miami issues a certificate of merit. Commander Fabria Ellington is the current commander for the City of Miami Police Department, the Brickell Net Service Area. Commander Ellington is a 28-year veteran with the City of Miami Police Department. In 1993, she began her career as a public service aide and shortly after became a police officer. Throughout her career, she has risen through the ranks and worked in all divisions of the department. In 2018, she was appointed as commander, and in September 2019, she was assigned to oversee the Brickell Net area. She holds a master's in executive management and a Bachelor of Arts in organizational leadership. She has attended several leadership courses and received numerous honors, awards, citations, and commendations. I'm confident that you will continue to excel and to serve in our community and to advance our quality of life and contribute to Miami. On a personal note, I know the commander many years ago had always wanted to be in the fire department. So it's never too late. It's never too late. I think but I think that your 28 years of service as a sworn police officer have shown that I think you stepped in the right direction, and we thank you for that. And particularly the Brickell residents that I know speak very highly of you, and I think some of them are here as well that I informed them they were very supportive of this award. So thank you again, Commander. Thank you. Thank you. Commander Gabriel? I do not have any personal anecdotes, but I hope that in the near future we can generate some personal, if that's okay with you. I'll treat you some good barbecue that I've had in that area, how I actually met Commander Ellington. There was actually a beautiful article in the Herald, and I reached out to the chief at the time, and I said, could you please schedule something so we could go? And Commander Ellington, I met, so, what was the barbecue? It was Bungu. So I saw it and I went and attended and it was a lot of fun. Yvonne was there. I don't know if she's here, but the HealthNet office was there. Okay, I think when there's always a lunch, everybody shows up. So, but if that's okay, I will ask for that lunch. In recognition of his excellent service, the City of Miami issues a certificate of merit. Commander Max Gabriel is the current commander of the City of Miami Police Department, Little Haiti Net Service Area. Commander Gabriel was born and raised in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and he joined the City of Miami Police Department in March 2004. In 2012, he was promoted to the rank of police sergeant, where he had served several special assignments. In 2017, he was promoted to the rank of police lieutenant, where he commanded several units. In 2019, he was appointed the Little Haiti Net Commander, where he diligently works to reduce crimes, improve the quality of life in the area, and build stronger relationships between law enforcement and the community. He made an instant impact in the Little Haiti Net that led to a reduction of Part 1 crimes and homicides by 34% and 36% respectively after his first year. He holds a Bachelor and a Master of Arts degree in Public Administration. I'm confident that you will continue to excel and to serve in our community to advance our quality of life and contribute to Miami. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Chief, if you can join us. Thank you, and good morning. Thank you. Thank you. Commander Papier. I also do not enjoy any personal anecdotes, so I'm going to be asking for that lunch so we can get, but I did get to read your bio a number of times, and I might want to go work out with you. You seem to be very diligent at that, so I think we all benefit from that. In recognition of her excellent service, the City of Miami issues a certificate of merit. She has served at the Miami Police Department since 1999. She began her City of Miami police career as a civilian secretary in the Internal Affairs Division and became a police officer in 2004. She went on to work in different sections of the department and continued to advance her career by taking promotional exams and pursuing higher education. Commander Papier holds a bachelor's in organizational leadership and a master's degree in executive management from the St. Thomas University. She also attended the Southern Police Institute, Command Officers Development course in 2015, and the Senior Management Institute for Police Executive Strategic Management in 2019. Throughout her career, Commander Papier has committed to serving the City of Miami community with accountability, professionalism, and integrity. She is happily married to her husband of 12 years and the love of her life, Ron Papier, with whom she has 2 children. She enjoys working out in her free time and spending as much time with her family as possible. I'm confident that you will continue to excel and serve in our community to advance our quality of life and contribute to Miami. Thank you. Thank you. Please. Okay, perfect. We are now, last but not least, and I particularly enjoyed reading the history and your dedicated service. You have, like your colleagues, served in multiple departments, and I think you have particularly put yourself in harm's way to protect our citizens when you're dealing with a serious matter, and that was immediately apparent to me, and I think it requires a certain type of spirit. And from reading your bio, you always wanted to be a dedicated officer since I think that bug hit you in high school. So, thank you, Commander Garrido. In recognition of his excellent service, the City of Miami issues a certificate of merit. Commander Daniel Garrido has been an accomplished law enforcement officer for almost 23 years. As native to the Miami-Dade County, he believed at an early age there always had to be someone to protect those who had no one to protect them. Since the beginning of his law enforcement career, he has always believed in community policing and understands the police department cannot be effective without the assistance of the community it serves. Through leadership, dedication, and persistence, he continues to serve the City of Miami Police Department and its residents. During his tenure in the Miami Police Department, Commander Garrido has worked in several assignments to include problem-solving team, robbery, gangs, felony apprehension team, and was assigned to the FBI Violent Crimes and Fugitive Task Force, to name a few. In 2011, Commander Garrido received the Distinguished Award of Officer of the Year for the City of Miami Police Department. He has risen through the ranks and has been the commander in the Coral Way Net Service Area since October 18, 2017, where he has maintained a constant decrease in crime in all 4 years. He gives his credit to all the hardworking officers and support staff he has under his command, who day in and day out show how much they care about the residents of the City of Miami. I am confident that you will continue to excel and serve in our community to advance our quality of life and contribute to Miami. Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Come here. I want to thank you, and you've been serving the area of the net area for the past, I've been here for the past 3 years and a half. Your job has been excellent, and every single one of the officers under your command had been an example of what a police officer can be. This man has the gratitude of all the residents of the district. And I thank you in their name. I'm thanking you, and in my name, thank you very much for the excellent job you're doing. Thank you.
So, thank you. We've concluded this portion. I wanted to thank you again, Chief. You have a great set of commanders here, and we all appreciate of their service. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. For the lunch, let me know.
Okay. Group photo.
This one, sorry, this is just my notes. Yep.
I think it's anything PZ that I've talked about. Oh, that's a good point. Okay. I apologize. I believe we have some more protocol items. Commissioner Carollo has two more. Got it. Well, I guess we're going back down again.
Thank you, Chairman. If I may ask Ricardo Rodriguez to come up, please. Maybe we could do it here. Well, no, we'll have to do it in front. For the photos. Yeah, with the photos, the setup. And if I could also ask Tommaso Calauti to come up also. Hey, Barbie. Gracias. Thank you so much. On the country. Thank you. You know, I'm probably the one elected official that does the least presentation to city employees. I truly try to limit it to those that really do something exceptional above and beyond. And to both Mr. Caluti and Mr. Rodriguez, they stood out as individuals that went above their call of duty. We recently gave them a challenge that they had to finish a project in a very, very short time. And it began with the monument on 8th Street and 13th Avenue of the Brigade 2506 and other monuments behind. This April is the 60th anniversary of the Bay of Pigs invasion. And we wanted that monument and those monuments around to be as close as they could be to when they were first new and placed there. And the job they did was outstanding. You would think that they were brand new. And let me read. In recognition of your dedication and vision for the restoration of the eternal torch honoring the falling of the Brigade 2506 during the Bay of Pigs invasion, and the Nestor Tony Izquierdo veteran of the Brigade 2506 monuments, as well as the improvements to the general area of the remembrance ceremony of the 60th anniversary of the Bay of Pigs invasion. Through your work, you have ensured that the sacrifices made by these heroes in the name of freedom and democracy will be remembered in our great city for generations to come. Thank you both very, very much.
Thanks very much. This is it? Fine. Teamwork anyway.
If you would like to say anything, gentlemen, you certainly
Real
feel
quick,
free.
please don't. I wanted to thank Commissioner for giving us an opportunity and all the other commissioners on a daily basis, but particularly in this one, for Commissioner Joe Carollo and for our director, Barbie Hernandez, who had the spirit and the, power to say that we were able and capable of doing it, and we're very thankful for it. And thank everybody, and I hope everybody enjoys the park in the future, and to my partner as well.
It was with a great honor that we received this task from Commissioner Carollo. We accomplished with great passion and humbleness, and we are so grateful that this monument would last, like Commissioner said, for the next 50 or 60 years as a symbol of democracy and freedom and fight for our rights. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, the city, and it is a great honor for us holding this certificate today. Thank you.
Can Barbie join us? Where's she at? I saw her here a little while ago. To those of you that come on up, Barbie. To those of you that do not know our new Parks Director, this is Barbie Hernandez. She's going to make one heck of a Parks Director for the city of Miami, and she's been thrown into the fire already, and it's coming up pretty good with the help she has. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Once we are resituated, we will move to the order of the day. We'll start with the management, offering which items they'd like to see continued, deferred, or withdrawn, and we'll move to the commissioners to see which items they'd like to address as well. Let me just wait till we've got all of our commissioners so they can take notes on the order. Morning, Mr. Manager.
Ready?
Yes, what would you like to see withdrawn, deferred, or continued from this
So
agenda?
good morning, Mr. Vice Chair, Commissioners, Madam City Attorney, Mr. City Clerk. At this time, the administration would like to defer and/or withdraw the following items. CA3 to be deferred to the May 27th meeting. RE1 to be withdrawn. PH9 to be deferred to the May 27th meeting. PZ1 to be deferred to the May 27th meeting.
Repeat,
Mr. Manager, just slow down just
Slow
a little
down,
bit,
man.
please. So just to reiterate, you have a deferral of CA3
Correct?
to 527. In order, you have a deferral of PH9,
To May 27th.
527. RE1, you would like to withdraw. Is that
Correct.
correct?
yes.
PZ1
PC1,
to be deferred to May 27th. PZ2 to be deferred to May 27th. PZ3 to be indefinitely deferred. PZ4 to be indefinitely deferred. PZ5 to be continued. PZ6 to be continued, and PZ8 to be deferred to May 27th.
Nothing on PZ7, correct? PZ8
PZ8, correct, sir.
to be deferred,
To May 27th.
527.
CA3
Okay, CA3,
to be deferred to May 27th.
okay,
PH9
PH9,
to be deferred to May 27th. RE1 to be withdrawn. PZ1 and PZ2 to be deferred to the May 27th meeting. PZs 3 and 4 to be indefinitely deferred. PZ5 and PZ6 to be continued. And PZ8 to be deferred to May 27th.
Thank you. And to clarify, Mr. Clerk, continuing PZ5 and 6, we'll put it on the 527 agenda as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I see a lot of residents here on that issue, and we'd like you to know that we listen to the residents, and there will be more engagement with the Commissioner's office as well as the applicant and the surrounding neighbors. So thank you all for coming today. But we will be continuing the Charles Avenue rezoning to May 27th, if this vote passes. Is that all, Mr. Manager?
Yes, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. Commissioners, what would you like to see shuffled on this agenda? Any items, Commissioners, to be deferred or withdrawn? I have one item. Is there anything else either of you would like to see continue withdrawn? So PZ12 is the appeal of the medical marijuana application item. I received a correspondence this morning that there is a new lawsuit pending on this issue that's been filed in state court against us. So I believe we should probably defer this item indefinitely to see where that goes. Madam City Attorney, do you agree?
Yes, that would be great.
So we'll add that in as an indefinite deferral. I'm sorry, I need your microphone, please. Not yet. We're going to do all of them at once.
Which one is it?
This is the PZ 12. We're going to indefinitely defer.
The lawsuit, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
The lawsuit was filed this morning,
It was filed last night.
last night?
Yes.
Okay.
Who filed the lawsuit?
Yeah. Who filed the lawsuit?
The firm of Maury, I think.
Not the firm, the principal, the plaintiff.
Well, I'm sorry, the principal in the, in PZ 12 is the one that filed the lawsuit.
I don't,
What's the basis of the lawsuit?
is there
If I
somebody
may-
here that'd like to speak on this issue?
If I may, well, before
You're,
that.
okay, just a minute.
if I may,
I'll,
Please, let me.
so my understanding from my reading of the lawsuit is it's a preemption issue of whether or not we can even issue a CU, a certificate of use, regarding medical marijuana establishments.
Okay. Can you explain that, if I may? Can you explain that further, Madam Attorney?
Their argument, it seems, from the lawsuit is that we are supposed to issue the CU, period.
As a matter of law,
Right, that's what they're claiming.
state law.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Would you like to be recognized, sir? I would. Who do you represent?
Represent the applicant,
Let me make sure your microphone.
MRC 44 LLC.
Okay. And did you file this lawsuit on behalf of the applicant?
Yes, sir.
Which firm are you with?
Panza Mauer,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Tom Panza, Panza Mauer.
Thank you very much.
So what I would like to be heard with respect to is the pending issue of the objection to the city attorney remaining involved in these particular proceedings on the basis of a conflict of
Is
interest.
that part of your lawsuit as well?
It will be part of the lawsuit as well. We'll be filing a motion to disqualify.
Understood.
On the basis of what we perceive to be conflict of interest.
You see a conflict of interest for the city attorney to participate in the lawsuit, meaning representing the city?
That's correct.
Okay, that's noted.
I also would like to make part of the record a copy of the lawsuit, if I may do that.
Well, we don't need to litigate it here. There's something
I
you need to
understand.
enter into the record for
I
the
understand.
deferral of the item?
Just so that the lawsuit itself is part of.
Yes,
this
I
record.
think that's very valid.
That's
So
all I
we'll-
need to do right now.
We'll enter a copy of the filing into the record. That is the reason we're deferring it primarily. Is there anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you very much.
And my apologies, Chair, if I get the speaker's name, if I've
Your
missed
name
it, I
again?
apologize.
My name is Richard Beauchamp.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And with that in mind, I'd like to, well, we won't take it up at this moment, but RE9 is related to that, and I think that's something we'll take up pretty early on just to dispense with that item altogether. RE9 is giving the city attorney direction to seek an interpretation of state versus federal law regarding that. So hopefully we'll get an interpretation on that in the coming months. We'll hear how this suit goes, and this will be back before us in the not-too-distant future.
Well, hold on.
Yes, sir.
We have to authorize the city attorney to seek an interpretation of the declaratory judgment, is that correct?
Right,
You can't
RE9,
defer the item and then you automatically go out and do it, right?
right, RE9.
We have a separate item.
We have a separate item, so
Yes.
we're not going to defer that item.
No, that item I think we should take up pretty
Okay.
early this morning.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Are there any other items to be continued, withdrawn, deferred? I think I've got all of them. Any further discussion you would like to address regarding the deferral?
Yes, sir. Yes. My name is Paul Savage with law offices at 2555 Ponce de Leon Boulevard, Coral Gables, Florida. I'm here representing MacArthur Industries, MacArthur Properties, rather. This is on PZ items 10 and 11, which is the Design District SAP amendment.
Yes.
We are an intervener in that matter as recognized by the city and the PZAB. We're right across the street. And I wanted to put on the record today that we believe that this item should be continued for several reasons of improper notice and the record itself. The staff had some technical difficulties loading up all the PZAB items, including things from the applicant and, proponents, opponents, et cetera. And the city intends to drop on the floor today a new development agreement and a new regulating plan with additional amendments. And we don't believe that the public has been adequately notified. And your package, in fact, doesn't even include all the latest documents.
Thank you, Mr. Savage.
Yes, sir.
So the item has not been put in this list for deferral from the management or the commissioners, but when the item comes up, your points can be addressed, the intervener status can be addressed, and whether or not it should be deferred can also be addressed at that time once again.
I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on any of the deferrals, whether or not something should be deferred, continued, or withdrawn? Good morning, Mr. Armbruster.
Praise the Lord Jesus, who is the Christ. And I want to, PC 5 and PC 6, though it be deferred, I'd like for you to take into consideration what Black people have gone through for generations, though you may not be aware. A bit of history, Overtown, for example. Overtown, I-95 was supposed to have gone on the railway, but they moved it west to go through the Black neighborhood. We lost most of that neighborhood with I-95. Coconut Grove, there is a historical street that has one insult that was agreed to by the planning and zoning, the only non-historical looking house on that street you're aware of. And so with this development that is being proposed is another zoning change issue that is dismantling Coconut Grove as a whole. Now, if that is deemed a historical street, any development on that street should mirror that which is historical. And what is being proposed is far from historical, as you know. And the worst part about it is that the properties abutting the development are single-family home properties that do not have homeowners living in them. They're rental properties.
Thank you. Mr. Armbruster? I always appreciate your words, but
Okay.
I'd just like to clarify.
Right.
The public comment at this moment is only on whether or not the item should be deferred or heard today, not the substance of the actual item.
Okay.
So you will, when
Okay.
it does come back before us,
All
you'll
right.
have absolute time to discuss the issues of whether or not it should be
So I'm gonna
passed.
say about its deferral, I will say in truth, it should not even be considered, and I want you to think on that between now and the time that it's reintroduced. And if you permit the dismantling of this community anymore, I will pray in all earnesty that the Lord has mercy on your souls.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Amen.
Armbruster. Are there any other comments from the public with regard to items that would be withdrawn, deferred, or continued, not on the substance of the matter, but on the timeliness of whether we hear it today or not? Good morning, Mr. Gray. You're recognized.
Great Rising Kings, how you guys doing today in
Good.
Queens? My name is Ijamin Gray. I'm the CEO of Encouraging Dreamers Breaking Barrier. I was here to speak on PH9. I just heard that the item was deferred, and I would like to know why is the item being deferred?
You did not know that it would be deferred today?
No, sir.
Mr. Manager, PH9 was a request from the administration for deferral.
Yeah, that request came directly from the mayor's office.
Mayor's office has requested deferral. We don't have an exact reason for you.
Okay. Thank you. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you. It's deferred to May 27th, though, so it will come back.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Good morning. You're welcome. Just a reminder, we won't be getting into the substance of the application, simply the timeliness of whether or not to hear it.
I think that's what I'm about to do, but please correct me if I've made the wrong judgment. Okay, can we show the PowerPoint? Yes, my name's Courtney Berrien. I live at 3325 Charles Avenue. And I think the tech folks were gonna help me. There we go, okay. So I'm here to speak in favor of this item being continued and why that's an important decision. I'm here to speak on behalf of the residents who live within 500 feet of the proposed rezoning. We have unique concerns based on our proximity to the development, and I believe those will be addressed in the substance of our argument later. So this map was submitted by the developer. This is in today's agenda packet. The properties outlined in red are the properties that are proposed for rezoning, the properties in white, are within 500 feet. Focusing specifically on Thomas, William, and Charles Avenues, the residential areas that are within 500 feet of the proposed development. We, as a group of residents living in this area, have not been engaged with the developer, and that's why we prefer that this item is deferred. We received 3 notices from the city over a course of about 18 months, first from the Planning, Zoning, and Development Board, and then later for the commission meeting that was several weeks ago, and then today. Other than that, we have not been engaged with the developer in any way. And again, we, as the people that live within 500 feet, have very unique concerns about this rezoning. I want to note that when I attended the Planning and Zoning meeting that was a little over a year ago, the developer's attorneys submitted, also included in today's agenda, a petition showing that they had widespread community support from this issue, implying that the community had indeed been engaged in discussions, noting that they had 72 signatures, which included duplicates. Those signatures were conducted or collected before the pandemic, presumably over a long period of time. Only 2 of those signatures are from Charles Avenue. They're on the other side of Douglas. That's about 4 blocks away.
Question for you really quickly, because
Yes.
Charles Avenue does not continue to the west side of Douglas Avenue. There's a Charles Terrace.
There's one tiny little part of it, according to Google Maps, when I was looking
is
last
still called
night.
Charles Avenue?
That is still Charles Avenue.
My mistake.
Correct.
Thank you.
No, but you're right. They did have a couple of signatures from Charles Terrace, also on the other side of Douglas. On the William Avenue signatures, one of those signatures represented a renter, a tenant of the developer's family, renting from the developer. And 4 signatures from Thomas, also the majority of them on the other side of Douglas. What we will be submitting today is a petition with more than 30 signatures, all of those from within the 500 feet. In addition to that, we have an online petition for folks that are a little further, also living in the Grove, though, with more than 36 signatures, so it's roughly the same number of signatures. We had a community meeting Monday night with 18 people in attendance, and we were able to do all of this during the pandemic in about 6 days. So I would argue that what we've been able to do on behalf of the residents within 500 feet clearly demonstrates that there is not widespread community engagement, even though that's what the developer claims, and that's why we really support this item being delayed today. So we really thank the City Commission for that. We're hoping that we can work with the developer. We have very real concerns in opposition to this development that are unique to us, and we hope those will be addressed over the coming weeks.
Thank you. And thank you for your emails. I have received a lot of advocacy from nearby neighbors to the applicant. And despite a lot of work they've done within the community and reaching out to homeowners groups and civic groups, it seems there is some more work to do with local neighbors very close to the item. Mr. Manager, I would love to work with your planning director on revisions to our notification process. I really believe we should have large signs on any property that's being rezoned or contemplated for rezoning rather than taped paper to trees. I think we should have no excuse that someone nearby to an application doesn't know what's going on in their neighborhood. Not everybody attends the HOA meetings, but I think an ordinance amendment to really make our notification process a little more robust would be in order.
Duly noted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Winker.
Good morning, Commissioners. David Winker, 2222 Southwest 17th Street. I represent residents on Charles and Williams that live within 500 feet of the proposed project to build a 66-unit hotel, restaurant, and bar complex on Charles Avenue. We would appreciate the postponement of items PZ 5 and 6 on the second reading that would change the zoning of 4 residents on Charles Avenue and 2 residents on William Avenue to commercial zoning. The delay was requested so that residents living on Charles and Williams Avenue that will bear the brunt of this zoning change can participate in negotiations with city officials, the developers, and the Stirrup family to ensure appropriate traffic, environmental, and other mitigation. If carefully implemented, the resulting rising economic tide can lift all boats in the West Grove, existing residents, renters, and property owners alike. In the end, the right thing for the West Grove and all of Miami's neighborhoods is ensuring that residents have a meaningful voice and role in preserving and shaping our neighborhoods. We are hopeful about the importance and power of our neighborhoods, but we need the help of you, our elected officials, to allow increased resident involvement in zoning decisions. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Commissioner,
Mr. Winker,
please hold your applause.
who do you represent?
I can give you names
It's
if
here.
you'd like.
Mr. Winker, I'm over here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought.
Who do you represent?
Commissioner,
Who do you represent?
I represent a number of neighbors that live within 500 feet.
What number? Who are they?
I'll give you a list if you'd like.
Okay, do you represent, do you represent?
I'm not sure it's appropriate for you to be asking me this.
Well, I don't know why. You represent people. I want to just make sure you do. Is it pro bono or are you being paid?
Pro bono.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I'm registered to lobby.
That's all.
And I
Thank you,
would
sir.
point out,
Thank you, sir.
this hostility
Not hostility. Thank you.
from the dais, we're not asking to intervene. I think it's inappropriate.
It's not
to ask
hostility.
questions.
It's a dais, number one, and number two, it's not hostility. It's just a question.
Listen, we're here
I'm
today.
not here to debate you. I'm not here to debate you. Thank you.
No, listen,
Thank you, Mr. Winker.
you guys signed an oath of civility. And this hostility, there's no reason to ask those questions.
Mr. Winker, thank you very much. It is fair to ask who someone is representing if they are speaking before this body.
And I expect that list to be given to the commission, Mr. Chairman. That list that he says he represents,
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
I expect that list to be given to the commissioners and to the commission of who he represents. I'm not too sure he represents anybody, so I want to make sure.
Got it. Mr. Clerk, Mr. Winker expressed that he is registered to lobby on this issue, so I believe it would be in our records who he's registered for. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, and I'll make it easier. I'm here on behalf of Manny Priegas. My name is Jonah Wolfson, and we're asking that item PH6 be deferred for several reasons. First, the notice is defective. The reso that was advertised in the DVR back on April the 12th, 2021 is not the reso that is before the City Commission today. Second, the City of Miami River Commission has not provided a recommendation on this item. Per your resolution, which I've given the clerk to pass out, 00-320, all items that impact and deal with the Miami River shall be vetted by the Miami River Commission, which will provide a non-binding recommendation. Now, it's also been brought to our attention from officials at FDOT that earlier this week, the new District 6 Secretary formally asked the City of Miami to delay today's vote on the conveyances between the city and FDOT. And lastly, as you may be aware, there is pending litigation. So from our perspective, it's recommendable that the city defer today's item pending resolution of the legal issues raised by Mr. Priegas in his litigation. Thank you.
Commissioner Diaz-de la-Portilla.
I have a question, my city attorney. Madam Attorney, I asked you yesterday in the briefing, because I had been informed that there was in fact a resolution passed, I don't know, like 8 years ago or something like that, that said that these items have to go before the Miami River Commission to recommend to us in a non-binding manner whether we should move forward or not. And this item has not gone before the Miami River Commission, is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Madam Attorney, you told me yesterday there was no resolution. Is there a resolution?
What I told you and what you asked was if there was a law that prohibited this
I
item.
didn't ask if there was a law, I
And
asked-
if they needed to go to the Miami River Commission. This item, accepting land, does not need to go to the Miami River Commission. What normally goes to the Miami River Commission is all items having to do with projects on the river to make sure that it complies with all the riverfront lawsuits that we have, that it maintains a working waterfront, all those type of things. So I'm sorry if I misunderstood your question, but we do not feel that this item, accepting land, falls under that resolution.
It was for clarification purposes. What does the resolution say itself? I mean, Madam
I
Attorney?
don't have a copy right now, but
Did you distribute a copy to all?
I distributed a copy to you folks. I don't have one left in front of me, but essentially, and I don't want to litigate the case.
No, I just want clarification, that's all, on this one issue. Is there in fact a resolution?
Yes, there is. We passed out the resolution, and it's our position that our interpretation of that is that this item itself would have needed to go before the Miami River Commission prior to coming here to your body.
Commissioner Carollo, this is your item. How would you like to proceed?
Mr. Chair, the way that I would like to proceed, he's had his 2 minutes. I will discuss this and bring my case forward when the item comes up. This is not the time that this item is up here to have a full discussion on it.
Thank you. So you're not looking to have it deferred or continued?
Oh, absolutely not.
Understood.
Absolutely not. This is the most outrageous situation that I've seen here in a long time. We're trying to get over an acre of free land from the state of Florida, and someone is trying to stop us from doing it because of their greed. It wasn't enough that they got $14.9 million in their first shot. They're trying to stop the residents of Miami from having additional parkland because of the greed that they have and the connections that they feel they still have. And for the record, I don't give a hoot who runs against me, who some people think they're going to intimidate me with. Anybody wants to run against me? Sign up. But you're not going to stop me from doing what I'm supposed to do as a commissioner, and that's the people's work. And the people's work is if I can get from the state of Florida over an acre of land at no cost to us, then what the heck does the Miami whatever authority has to do to get involved in this? They're going to oppose free land from the state for a park? It's outrageous. It's totally outrageous. And if I have to, I'm going to get into the whole history of this, including who the partners are that are also behind the scenes, that don't live here, live in Venezuela, trying to see how this gets stopped because they have an interest also.
When the item comes up, so it remains on the agenda for the moment. Thank you. Your
Okay,
request is noted.
All right. Could I say something briefly or no?
On
All
the
right, I won't.
timeliness.
I'll leave it. I'm sorry?
Thank you. I would recommend
Okay.
not.
Take care. Thank you all.
Good morning. You'd like to speak on some of the items with regard to timeliness?
Good morning. Yes, my name is Juliana Bukovic, and I'm a resident of Charles Avenue. So I'm here in support of the other residents of the street. I'm also represented by David Winkler, Commissioner De La Portilla. I'm one of the people that attorney is representing. I'm here to express my concerns along with my other colleagues about what's going on in our street, and also to say how disheartened I am that I'm standing here in front of you guys instead of discussing what are the things that we can do to preserve the beautiful Mariah Brown's house, which is standing right in front of the proposed hotel, which is a giant structure that our tiny street of 3 blocks does not comport. And why are we so interested in some private investment when we have a conundrum of the beautiful Playhouse Hotel that we could also a theater, that we could be discussing the future of the theater and the future of the street and the Mariah Brown's house, and being on the map as a city that has interest in preserving historical places such as that. It's a 200-year-old street. It's tiny. How are the trucks for the construction of this hotel going to transit through our street or through main streets? It's almost inaccessible for that kind of construction to go on. So we are very concerned. We have peacocks in our street. That is kind of a staple of our neighborhood. It's beautiful, and we are very concerned. We are very concerned, and we are very disheartened. We wish we were here talking about other things that really could promote the city and put us even further in the map of an international city that takes care of itself and of its history. Thank you very much.
Understood. You are in support of the continuance.
Thank you. We really appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Art Ortega, and I'm here to speak on item RE7, which is related to PH6. In 2014, we presented to the River Commission our project on 5 and 27 Southwest.
Sir, so we're going to be opening up public comment on all of the agenda items right after we set the agenda. And so you'll actually have time to talk about the substance of the item in about 10 minutes.
I understand. I just like to ask for the deferral or RE7 because we have been trying to contact the city since 2014. We actually had one meeting on March 30th with the Assistant City Director to discuss what was here of substance. And to our surprise, the city's next step was to put us in the agenda for eminent domain, which is not consistent with what was here discussed of substance and what was discussed with the Assistant City Manager on March 30th.
Thank you. Thank you. Your comments are noted, and you can speak again on the substance when we open public comment.
What is this for again?
Sir, this is for RE7, acquire property to establish public parks. It's a request for deferral.
And who was he representing?
Sir, are you representing anybody in particular?
The owner.
I couldn't hear you. Just a moment. If you could have the microphone, Mr. Vinciguerra.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I represent the owner. I am the owner.
The owner, you are the owner of the
Yes.
property, so you don't you are the principal.
Yes.
What is your name, sir?
Arturo Ortega.
Okay. You're representing your father too?
I represent myself and our family trust.
Okay, so that's includes your father in the property, right?
He shares my name.
Okay. Just want to put it on the record that it includes him.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Vinciguerra. You have
Good morning. Anthony Vinciguerra, 3325 Charles Avenue. I want to speak, if I could, in support of deferment of PZ 5 and 6. And we just want to really thank Commissioner Russell. We know you care about the West Grove. We know you care about the residents. And we just want to give appreciation for your consideration of us. Just really briefly, I want to try to summarize very quickly the concerns and why we support the deferment of this item. As everyone knows, Charles Avenue and William Avenue are two of the most historic streets in the state of Florida, founded by Bahamian residents in the mid-1800s. It's a historic thoroughfare designated by the city of Miami. It's a beautiful street lined with trees, quintessential Coconut Grove. When residents found out about this proposed rezoning for 6 lots, we were very concerned. First of all, about notice. Those residents that live within 500 feet really knew almost nothing about this. We know some community organizations were engaged, but those that lived closest to it were not engaged. We're also concerned because when the historic Stirrup home across the street had been rezoned, we had concerns back in 2014, and we were told that we would be engaged in any new development. But over the last weeks, we found out that there's a new restaurant planned next to the historic Stirrup home that no one knew about. So you can imagine there's a large building already being planned for Charles, and we didn't even know anything. We're also really concerned about traffic. As I understand it, in 2016, there was a city study done of Charles Avenue, and Ms. Victoria Mendez has been extremely helpful in the city attorney's office, getting us information about Charles Avenue and about the investigations, but we're hoping still to get the study from 2016 on the existing traffic burden that Charles Avenue has. And as we understand it, the current plan is not consistent with the city's policy of engaging residents in the issues of traffic in the community. We're also concerned about its environmental impact. Charles Avenue already floods and is covered with trees, and the developer already showed disregard for the trees that they knocked down next to the historic Stirrup home in 2014. And just finally, commercial encroachment. This is a historic residential area. Large-scale development like this with multiple 3-story buildings is something that, just to be honest, the residents within 500 feet are very concerned about and don't want. So we'd just like to, again, thank Commissioner Russell for all your support, your listening to us, your concerns about addressing our concerns. And this is just a brief summary that those here on Charles Avenue and why we support the deferment of PZ 5 and 6. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning.
My name is Laura Graham. I'm 3300 Charles Avenue, and I'd also just like to echo the thanks and support of a continuation of this subject matter for PZ 5 and 6, just in the sense that we neighbors didn't really know that the hotel was even happening, and we'd love to have some adequate time to be able to engage with the developers to see how we might do it in a way that the neighbors feel a little bit more comfortable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Just a moment. Clara is disinfecting each podium in between speakers, so if you could just give her a moment. Thank you, Clara. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. My name is Drew Nottencamper. I also live at 3300 Charles Avenue.
Chair, I can't hear this.
A little closer to the microphone.
Sorry.
please.
My name is Drew Nottencamper. I also live at 3300 Charles Avenue. I would also like to echo my fellow neighbors in concern with the commercial development proposal. And I also have had very little opportunity to discuss any of the issues with developers, albeit traffic or environmental concerns that we have. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning.
Good morning to the esteemed commissioners. I am Shirley Gibson. I'm a landowner of some property on Charles Avenue. This property has been in my family for over 100 years. My great-grandmother came here in 1879. And I'd like to voice my opposition to the approval of the rezoning that was passed maybe a year ago to allow a building like a hotel on the entrance of Charles Avenue would change the whole character of that street. I was raised on that street. I'm 86 years old now, and my father was born there 110 years ago. And I would like to save the beauty and the camaraderie of that street. When you allow a building to come right at the entrance of that street, that would allow and bring too much traffic on that street. Also, it will destroy the environment. We're going to lose some very, very old trees. I don't know if a traffic study was done or an environmental study. And I beg you and plead with you to think about what was done and to help the neighbors on that street. I thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Please hold your applause. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. I think we only have a few. If there's anyone else here to speak publicly, just please line up at either of the lecterns so I can gauge how many folks are left. And again, this item will be back before us on May 27th. Anyone who'd like to speak on the substance of the application can do so at that time. Today, we're just discussing whether or not it should be heard today is the only. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Jenna Saul. I own the lot right beside Ms. Gibson's. It's 3295 Charles. We're building a house. I have young children, and I'm very, very concerned about traffic with a large commercial property like that coming onto the street. We picked the street and the lot because of how small it was, how quiet it was, how quaint it was, and the hotel. I'm concerned that just what the increase of traffic would do to such a street that's just suffers so much from being so narrow as it is now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else here to speak to the commission on the deferral items, on the setting of the agenda? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Oh, we've got one more. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Valerie Haber with Gray Robinson at 333 Southeast 2nd Avenue in Miami. I'm here not on behalf of any client, but I just saw that there is a first reading of an alcohol ordinance amendment, an alcohol amendment. and I conferred quickly with my colleagues who do the same type of law, alcohol beverage law, and none of us had seen this. I see some pretty significant preemption issues in the way it's written, particularly with respect to enforcement of Chapter 562 Florida
So
statutes.
we'll be taking that item up, and so
Yeah.
you will have a public comment period for that item right
okay.
after we set the agenda.
We were just asking for deferral on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's noted. Thank you. Any other public speakers on the deferral items? All right, thank you. We'll close public comment. Is there a motion to set the agenda? Moved by Commissioner Diaz-Laportilla, seconded by Commissioner Reyes. All in favor of the item say aye. Aye. Motion passes. So we have an agenda for the day. I will now ask the clerk if there are any mayoral vetoes.
Chair, there are no mayoral vetoes.
Thank you very much. And we'll open for public comment on the remaining items that are on the agenda. Please line up at either lectern. Give a moment for Clara to disinfect between speakers. That way we'll alternate. You have 2 minutes to speak. You'll hear a little beep right when you get to the 30-second point left, so you know to start wrapping it up. All we need to know is your name and which item you'd like to speak on. We're limiting public comment to the items we are addressing on today's agenda, the remaining agenda. So good morning, sir. You're welcome.
Good morning. My name is Julio Ligorria. I live at 363 Aragon Avenue, Coral Gables, Florida, 33134. I'm here today in representation of Jeffrey Mitchell, President of the South Florida AFL-CIO and the Transportation Workers Union Local 291. And I will be reading a statement on his behalf regarding item DI5, the Better Bus Project discussion.
Thank you very much.
The Transit Alliance's Better Bus Project, as it stands today, will not make things better. The lines they are proposing be eliminated, like line 37, for example, which runs from West 74th Place in Hialeah through parts of Coral Gable and Coconut Grove and ends at the South Miami Metro Station, will hit our transit-dependent, low-income community the hardest. In the words of a county official at the Department of Transportation and Public Works, I quote, "The plan was designed to make you walk more," end quote. Not only that, but it is the elimination of decade-old routes that will leave thousands confused and without reprieve. These are people that don't spend their days on social media or joining the Transit Alliance Zoom calls to get the info they need to plan ahead. These are people that may not have access to high-speed internet, that work 2 to 3 jobs and are trusting their elected officials to have their backs and make sure they can get to those jobs in order to put food on their table. If this plan is adopted as is, it is going to cause mass confusion and stress for our passengers and great stress for our operators. While well-intentioned, the decision to make these changes in a cost-neutral manner is putting the Transit Alliance in an impossible position where they are forced to erase popular lines and merge them with others in a way that will disenfranchise thousands of your constituents of a means to transport themselves. We ask that you adopt a resolution urging the county to direct the Transit Alliance to not eliminate critical bus routes like Line 37 and to eliminate the mandate that the project be cost neutral. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Shannon Allen. I'm a resident of Coral Gables. I'm also the CEO of Grown, which is Real Food Cooked Slow for Fast People. We are the first 100% USDA organic certified fast food restaurant in the US, and we reside right here in South Miami. I'm here today in support of SR5, the pilot partnership with Reef Technologies. As most of you know, the global pandemic has been cataclysmic for local restaurants and small businesses, especially those that are owned and operated by Black and brown people. Myself, as a Black woman in business, I have seen the cataclysmic effects economically of what this pandemic has done to small businesses and restaurants. My current partnership with Reef Technologies has been a complement to my business, not a competition. A partnership with Reef Technologies for small business owners and restaurant owners here in Miami will give small business owners like me an opportunity to scale their businesses without having to add intense capital inclusion from their businesses. As everyone in this room is too aware, 40 million people lost their jobs this year because of the pandemic. 16 million of those people were bar and restaurant owners. I personally funded my team members and employees for over a year to make sure that they did not end up on food lines or have food insecurity or to go without being able to keep their families afloat. This is an anomaly. Most people do not have the luxury of investors or people to support them in times of economic downturn. A partnership with Reef Technologies has allowed me to stay in business and has given me the opportunity to expand throughout the city of Miami. I beg you, please consider passing SR 5 and improving the opportunity for more small businesses like my own to stay in business in our beautiful city and to be a service to our community members.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
If some of you could stand over at this lectern, we'll be able to alternate quicker as we disinfect in between. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Happy Earth Day to all. Special greeting to my own Commissioner, Commissioner Watson. My name is Frances Colon, and I'm a resident of 453 Northeast 68th Street in Miami, Florida. I am here this morning to speak in support of FR2, the Building Efficiency Ordinance. Did you know that 55% of the greenhouse gas emissions in the city of Miami come from buildings? This ordinance is a marketplace solution, a policy that over years would require buildings to report their use of water and electricity through an open and free platform to incentivize conservation and efficiency, what we're all driving towards. It's about data. When you have data, you have transparency. You can improve performance of buildings, saving money for owners, for tenants, creating jobs in the energy efficiency space, and producing health benefits by reducing pollution. This would help building owners make better decisions about buildings, how to improve them, and tenants can decide where to live. Finally, this is a baby step, but an important one for the big goal the city has set to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2050. Miami is leading. It can continue to lead, but it needs to go beyond the words. It now needs to take the steps to implement those goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Christopher Norwood. I operate the Historic War Rooming House Gallery at 249 Northwest 9th Street in historic Overtown. I'm here today to speak in support of SR 5. And what I would like to say about what this company has done to the community in which my gallery exists is that we've been able to host 2 job fairs. So often, when you think of an art gallery, you don't think of it being community engaged, but that's what we do at the Historic War Rooming House Gallery. And so often, I've had people in my community who come up to our gallery and ask for jobs. And we have been able to actually host 2 job fairs where people are hired on the spot. I hope that the commission will consider this project as a job creation vehicle, as something that obviously will elevate our community and innovate on ways in which technology is used in today's society differently. But most importantly, it has provided needed job access. And with that being said, please support SR 5. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. Cruz.
Good morning, Commissioner Elvis Cruz, 631 Northeast 57th Street. I'm here in opposition to PZ 10 and 11, which would allow a 36-story building at Biscayne Boulevard and 38th Street as part of the DACRA SAP. This public hearing is a due process violation because the public is only allowed to speak before the items are heard, so we cannot respond to any evidence or testimony given during presentations by the city or appellant. A public hearing must be meaningful, not illusory. The handout I've given you is a page from the city's analysis of Miami 21, section 3.91H10 for this item. I've highlighted the law's requirement that the height of the development be in scale and character with the surrounding area. Your common sense tells you that a 36-story building would not be in scale and character with the surrounding area, and therefore clearly illegal. Notice the analysis paragraph. There is absolutely nothing written by city staff regarding compliance with the requirement to be in scale and character with the surrounding area. You rely on city staff for your judgment, yet that important legal requirement is completely ignored by the city's analysis. That constitutes a lack of substantial competent evidence, and a departure from an essential requirement of law. Also, in the analysis paragraph, the red underlining says it will, quote, maintain the same height and FLR maximums. That is clearly false, as they are requesting a height variance to go from 20 stories, which is already too high, to 36 stories. You have been given false information. Again, a lack of substantial competent evidence. You should save the city the cost of defending a losing lawsuit and save the public the cost of suing to protect their neighborhood from a clear violation of the law.
Just a clarification, Mr. Cruz, you're saying it will change the FLR maximum?
No, I'm saying it'll change the height.
Correct, but you underlined also the FLR maximum as a...
Well, I didn't want to cut off the sentence
Understood.
and
Thank you.
take it out of context.
Just want to be clear.
The developers are trying to to justify this increase by calling it a gateway and saying it will be iconic. An iconic gateway does not have to be tall. Here's the most iconic gateway in South Florida, the Granada entrance to Coral Gables, only 2 stories tall and absolutely beautiful. In closing, the city of Miami is already hugely overzoned. Here they can go up to 20 stories on a property that used to be zoned single-family residential. This property should be downzoned, not given a height variance to enable them to sell higher views. There is no justification for this height variance. There is no hardship. This is simply a case of developer greed, just another money-motivated manipulation at Miami City Hall. Please do the right thing and enforce the zoning code by denying this height increase. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. One just point of clarification, there is no process violation by allowing the public to speak before an item. It's not meant to be available for the public to cross-examine an applicant unless they're an intervener. So the public has the right to comment on the application that has been submitted into the public record, but not necessarily to go back and forth after the applicant has presented. So there's not a process violation, I just want to be clear.
I disagree with you in that, again, they can present things that we cannot respond to.
Correct.
As you're probably aware, for many decades, the public hearing would take place after the city and the applicant had presented. Now we are denied the ability to know what they're saying. We have to prognosticate what they're going to say and offer rebuttal for it.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jay Stubbs. I live at 20062 Northwest 19th Terrace, Miami, Florida 33125 in the Alapata area, and I'm a line cook at Reef Kitchens. I want to say first off that I love my job at Reef, and I've worked in other restaurants, and it wasn't until I joined Reef that I saw what a team is supposed to be like. The opportunity to work at Reef has been an amazing experience for me. The people I work with and the team leaders are very helpful and possess the ideology of support and gratitude. I'm here today as an example to anyone out there still looking for work in this difficult time. Come work with us at Reef. We are individuals serving our community to the best of our abilities, and this company offers stability and good benefits. At Reef, we are not just workers, we are employees, and we are treated that way. We have many jobs open from line cook all the way up to management. So if you're looking for a job where you can still have your independence, come work with me at Reef. Thanks for your time. You guys have a blessed day.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you for coming. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. My name is Veronica, and I'm a vessel captain for Reef Kitchens. I live on the 25th Avenue and 11th Street, Miami, Florida. So I'm here to tell my story with Reef because before I was working at Reef, I was working in a restaurant job where they didn't want me to grow as myself because I was a single mother. And they gave me the opportunity, right? They didn't want me to grow. They told me, no, because you're a mom and you don't have enough time. Everyone else have a chance except for me. And then here at Reef, when I found this job, I started winning $2 more, $14 as a line cook. And in just 3 months, they gave me the chance to be an assistant supervisor. And now I'm the top of the vessel captains, and I feel pretty proud of myself. And with the pandemic, I was pregnant, and I never lost my job, and I was able to support my whole family because on the restaurant industry, it was closed for the pandemic, but at Reef, we never stopped working. And actually, like a lot of people who lost their job started to work with us at Reef. So I just want to thank you guys for this opportunity to speak here and to be in support for my company. And I appreciate, guys, that you guys are supporting the 700 workers that are on Reef Kitchens in all Miami. So thank you guys for being able to speak for my company.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you. Good morning. Please hold your applause. Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair. Paul Savage again from MacArthur Properties. I want to incorporate and adopt all of the things that Mr. Elvis Cruz said as part of my objections also, together with everything I've written and submitted into the record and at PZAB. And Sheriff, I understood your instruction to me before is that I will have time at the time of the hearing in chief to make my record as an intervener, et cetera, or do I need to burn through and make my record in 2.5 minutes right now?
Good point, Mr. Savage. Thank you. Madam City Attorney, because they were granted intervener status at PZAB does not necessarily mean they will be granted intervener status at City Commission, correct?
Correct.
So it needs to be heard.
The request needs to be made to City Commission.
Got it. What I would recommend, Mr. Savage, is submit for intervener status when we hear the item. I expect it to be one of the early items after lunch. And if you're not granted intervener status for whatever reason, I'll give you your 2 minutes at that time as a concerned resident.
Okay, I will, I'll reappear at that time and give my evidence and request as to why I'm entitled to intervener status, and we'll go from there.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Al Kanbar. I live in Shenandoah, and I work as site manager for Reef. As an immigrant, I came for Miami for a better living and better job opportunity. I'm part of this community, and I try as much possible to hire from within. We support the community most of the time. At Reef, we pay kitchen supervisor and kitchen team members and kitchen staff a little bit above the minimum wage, which we support our community, and I do supervise most of them. I know at Reef, we appreciate their work and we value them as people. Myself, I work with many locals in Miami, and I believe the restaurant can learn a lot from our concept at Reef Kitchens about the flexibility of hours, about the benefit and living wage, and I'm here to support as SR5. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your comments.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing? My name is Michael Miller. I'm here for Reef. I wanted to submit my article in the Miami Herald to the commissioners. Kind of nervous.
Don't worry about it. You're
My
good.
First time on the podium.
You're doing fine.
Okay. I was homeless. My house got foreclosed, and I was homeless. I want to thank God. I met a City of Miami officer. He took me to the Camilla's house, and from the Camilla's house, I signed up for Miami-Dade Community College, and I graduated, and I just want to thank you guys for that officer. And now I'm at Reef. I'm a head cook, and I changed my life overnight. And I want to thank you guys, you commissioners, for everything.
Thank you for your comments. Thanks for coming today. I appreciate that.
And he did a great job, by the way, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Torres.
Good morning, Commissioners. Happy Earth Day to everybody. My name is James Torres, and I'm the new elected president for the DNA. I've had the pleasure of working with Ken Russell and briefly, but we're moving on with some beautiful things in downtown. The DNA has asked me to make a comment on PZ 98779. Just kind of letting you know that we do support that, and also Flagler, the BID as well. So that way that gets traction and we can try to move that forward.
Which item is that, PZ?
PZ 98779.
Got it.
That's one of the items. The other items that we've been speaking about is FR 58897. That particular one there, the comment that we're looking at is the DNA and its memberships are studying the impact of the ordinance and will provide our input to Commissioner Ken Russell prior to the second reading, because there are questions on the fertilization on that, even though it's green. Happy day, right? The next item is FR 28727. That particular item, we would like to get additional information as it relates to if condos are excluded, as it relates to the wording, the way the ordinance is right now. or
Which
the
item is that?
FR 2 8727. And those are the three items that we'd like to support and then have further conversations on.
Thank you very much. Mr. Manager, when we do take up FR 2 and 5, we'll call those the Earth Day ordinances. We'll take them up early today. I'd like some help from Colonel Dodd with regard to those questions on the benchmarking, whether it applies to condos. And for the fertilizer ordinance, this only actually matters and happens if the management companies that control the fertilization at the towers in downtown get on board with it.
Right.
And so I'll need your help on that.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Warnick.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Steve Warnick, address 89 Northeast 27th Street in Wynwood. I'm here on behalf of the Wynwood Community Enhancement Association on SR 3, which is the Wynwood Norte Parking Trust Fund. As you know, the NRD 2 was adopted, and we thank you very much for your support. Last month, this is the final ordinance that is part of that, and this is really a tool to help bring back Main Street, preserve that small character, and be a tool that can be utilized for that small infill development. I know there's an adjustment that was made between first and second reading upwards on the rate of the parking fee, which the community association supports. And so we hope to have your support today. And we thank Commissioner Watson also for his involvement in taking the time on this item and all of the things going on in Wynwood Norte. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning, Mr. March.
Hi, good morning. My name is Michael March. I live at 3586 Charles Avenue in the West Grove. I'm here to voice my opposition to SR 5, the Reef Kitchens item. And first off, I'd like to congratulate Commissioner Reyes for keeping this item out of his district at least, because it's important to stand up for brick and mortar businesses. This whole item stinks of pay for play to me. From what I've read about Reef Kitchens, it's Saudi Arabian owned. They own these parking lots that aren't being used now because all the office buildings are closed. The parking lots aren't being used because obviously all the offices are closed. So to make up for the loss of revenue, they're competing against local brick and mortar restaurants by putting up these ghost kitchens. So if you support local businesses, I don't know how you can vote in favor of this project today. So please vote against it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Manager. I wasn't going to speak. My name is Ron Bilbao. I'm Head of Public Affairs for Reef Technologies. And I was just actually coming to submit a letter that was signed by several members of the Downtown Development Authority in support of the kitchen item. You heard from a local restaurant owner who actually is in support of the item. We have many local restaurants. So we'll be here throughout the day, and I'll be here to answer questions, any questions that you may have on the item, and certainly to answer some of the questions that the gentleman raised. But for now, just want to submit this letter for the record, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Bilbao. Good morning. Ms. Betancourt.
Good morning. Actually, Happy New Year, and thank God that we all kind of safe on COVID.
We haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, we have to kind of keep ourselves, and say, hi, sweetheart. Good to see you. Today is not about any other items that you have in the agenda. I just want to make a comment to your e-plan process. I'm having so many troubles with it. I have been to every single of those classes that you have online, the one that you do by Zoom meeting, all the questions that we ask. In reality, from the question that you ask to the process that it go through is totally different. So my question is to all of you, since you guys are the ones who speak for us, how the process is going to get better? How can a person can understand to go to the company who supposedly is scanning the documents for you, and then you receive an email saying your document is being uploaded wrong? So how can you help the regular person in the other side of the dais who has projects in the city of Miami from 2019, 2018, and into today, April 22nd, 2021.
Wow.
We still have no answer. You email everybody in that process.
Thank you. Ms. Betancourt, so it's not about an item on our agenda today, correct?
No.
So, but this is an issue that's important because the E-Plan system is meant to make it better, right?
But
And
it's not
especially
working.
for maybe those who are not doing large, projects, it may actually be quite complicated. So I hope that the city administration can help you with your situation and maybe even identify things that can improve it so it's more user-friendly if there are issues. So I'd like you to
Yeah.
speak with our city manager and the building department.
I already sent an email to all of them, but I definitely will talk to them. And another thing is, are you guys having any different approach for the new shootings in Little Havana, even though the commissioner is not here to answer, but all of you are responsible for the city. So are we doing anything with the extra people that we see in the streets selling drugs, prostitution in the streets that we see in young women walking in the streets? And I know Commissioner Reyes has had the issues, but Little Havana is increasing as well. So if you guys be able to do something about it, it's not just about you guys saying something, is we
Understood.
need to see it in the street the same way that we appreciate that you guys are helping with the water and sewers, new connections and everything else. Really appreciate it, but please, I know we have a new chief. It would be very nice if they can actually do
Thank
something
you.
about it.
Thank you for your comments. The building department is actually lined up ready for you, all right, over here. And your other concerns are very well noted. Thank you so much. Good morning again.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioner Reyes, Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla, Commissioner Watson, and Manager Noriega. We can definitely discuss in more substance the issue at hand, which is RE7. However, I think it's important to get clarity from the city and mainly from Manager Noriega as far as what the intent of the city is for our properties, because we were engaged by Assistant Zeri Irakawa, I'm probably murdering his name, Mr. Calleros Gauger and Colonel Dodd on March 30th, 2021, about working together as a property owner to improve a city property located on 1 Southwest South River Drive. That was less than 30 days ago, and unfortunately, we were very surprised because the item that I'm speaking against came up out of nowhere where they intend to eminent domain our property against our constitutional property rights. So I'd just like some clarity as far as whether the city intends to work together with a property owner or if the item, the agenda, is the direction that they intend to go.
Item on the agenda gives direction to the manager to acquire either through negotiation with the property owner or through eminent domain. So it sounds like the former is the friendlier method of approaching you.
I understand, but I have emails that are consistent with what was approved at the Miami River Commission in 2014, and all the gentlemen I mentioned are copied here, intending to work together with us as property owners to achieve the goals that the Miami River Commission unanimously approved in this meeting. So at the very least, a deferral to further discuss would be most welcome because we were frankly surprised by this item being on the agenda, considering that less than 30 days ago, we were pointed in another direction, completely different.
What is it that you have in your hand? I'm sorry, it's me.
Madam City Attorney, you're recognized.
It's an email I can share with you.
Okay.
Please hand it to the clerk, and he'll get a copy for all of us. What is the substance of that particular email?
It discusses working together with the city to make improvements to 1 Southwest South River Drive, which is a city-owned property, as the abutting property owner.
Chairman.
So So that isn't for the property that is in question with RE7, it's the abutting property which is city-owned.
Well, it's the abutting property, and we only were approached by the city because we are the neighbors on 5 and 27 Southwest South
Understood.
River Drive. So it's not directly on the item, but it's the reason why we're here.
Commissioner Correa, you recognized.
Chairman, the public hearing part is so that people can speak, not to be engaging us and asking questions and a back and forth. That's for when the item comes up. If he has a statement to make, he should make it. This is the second time he's up here now that I see, so I'm confused if he had his 2 minutes before or these 2 more minutes. I think he's talking about the same item. So he should make a statement. If he made it already, it's fine. And then when this item comes up, we could deal with anything else. I would like to point out the fact that the stenographer that's here today, good morning, ma'am, welcome to the City of Miami Commission meeting. It's the same one that was here for Mr. Priegas. That shouldn't be a surprise because you two are partners in other lands on the other side of Flagler by the river, correct?
That's incorrect.
Well, this is what he had told me.
Well, that's
They're side
incorrect.
to side. He said, he had told me before, some time ago, that you guys were 50-50 partners. Now, I know that both parcels, one is under his corporate name and yours is under another corporate name, but that's what he said to me.
That's incorrect, Commissioner. I'd be happy to clarify, but that's incorrect.
If this is what you're telling me, you know, I take it if, face value.
Thank you.
You're not, it's fine, okay? But nevertheless, you see the same stenographer taking record for both of them.
That's incorrect. I did not hire her.
Yeah, but she's going ahead and doing it for you. isn't
No, she's not working for us. We haven't hired her.
Okay.
I have never seen her before. I'm sure she's a very nice lady, but I have not seen her
So
before.
why would Mr. Priegas hire you to take on the record his statements?
Sorry, any comments do need to be made through a microphone so we can capture it for the public record.
Would you like to respond? She's asking, yes.
No, I'm asking you, if he's saying he didn't hire you for this, then why it's the other party?
All right, just so you can repeat what you just said into the microphone. Thank you.
Okay, he did not hire me.
Right. And who have you been?
I'm actually I'm hired by, it's a firm we're covering for another firm.
It's a firm for another
I
firm.
work for a court reporting firm and I'm covering for another firm.
Okay. But that other firm that you were covering for another firm,
They just tell me, to take down,
yeah, was the one that told you to type everything for Mr. Priegas' attorney's presentation, correct?
I'm really, not at liberty to say. I was just sent here and I'm just doing my
Okay,
job.
well, I just wanted to get into the record, and ma'am, I don't mean to put you in the spot. You're doing your job, and I understand that, and God bless you that you have a job and that you're doing a good job at it. But I just wanted to point it out that whoever hired you has an interest in both of these together. In other words, they're not separated. And okay, so that's all that I have now.
Thank you. And Commissioner, just to clarify, this gentleman spoke earlier about the deferral at the order of the day, requesting a deferral, and then he had his 2 minutes to speak on the item at public comment.
Okay, is he done with his 2 minutes, or is he?
Well, we've asked.
I'd just like to leave it on the record that what we seek is to meet with Manager Noriega to seek clarity regarding what direction the city wants to take. And also for the record, we have not hired a court stenographer today to be present
That's
to
clear.
take notes.
Thank you, and you are very welcome to meet with the manager.
For the record, this resolution does not prohibit you whatsoever to meet with the manager. So what you're asking for, you will have the opportunity in doing.
Thank you. I just wanted to be clear that we didn't hire anyone. Our intent is to discuss in the time being to see what direction the city wants to take.
But
We're not gathering evidence.
I do have to believe that as a proud Venezuelan, you would not want to sell beyond the market value of that property, and particularly if it might have the name of Simon Bolivar on it.
I'm sorry? I couldn't hear you.
I said, as a proud Venezuelan, my wife's Venezuelan, she's proud being Venezuelan, I believe that you would not want to sell the property at anything above market value, in particularly if we might want to consider naming that as a green space for Simon Bolivar.
We can definitely entertain different, I should clarify, I was born in Venezuela, but I'm dual Spanish and Venezuelan citizen, and I look up to Simon Bolivar, as you mentioned.
Yeah, la Canarias.
We are, as part of our project, and this gets into the substance which we can discuss later, but as part of our project, we are devoting over 41% of the property to landscape it consistent with the Miami Green Walk. So a significant amount, over 41% of the property, will be essentially a walkable linear park. And what we discussed on March 30th with representatives of the city was to incorporate 1 Southwest South River Drive into the same linear park and increase the amount of parkland, which is much needed in the district, Commissioner Correa.
Well, I think we're in agreement on that one point, that
hopefully we can sit down and discuss.
we much have needs for green space, in particular in this district. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Recio, good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Tony Recio with office at 2525 Ponce de Leon Boulevard. Good morning, everyone. I'm here to speak on PZ 10 and PZ 11, which is a design district SAP. I'm representing Magnolia Holdings, and I spoke with counsel for 3801 Biscayne Boulevard together. He joins me in this. We represent about 3 acres of property east of Biscayne Boulevard. I want to express my support for Mr. Savage's and his client, MacArthur Properties, their intervener status in today's proceedings. We support their objections wholeheartedly. I would love to present this to you in the context of that application, but I'm not sure about how the procedures are working these days because of COVID protocols. We would, however, consider it, as Mr. Cruz had said, a serious question of due process if we're not allowed to make a presentation or to speak on that item when that item is called. It makes sense to hear it in context. You've whittled down the agenda to about 2 or 3 items on the PZ agenda, so we have the time. We hope that we can present our objections more formally at that time, but in any event, we do support Mr. Savage's intervener status and his objections.
Mr. Recio, is your client seeking intervener status as well?
We are not at the moment, no.
Okay, and then this would be the time to state the substance of your objections at this time would be.
Okay, well, our objections are multifold. First of all, we'll join Mr. Savage in his objections, so we'll just follow up with what he says. But at the same time, we're concerned about the height that they're proposing. We're concerned about the way they're obtaining bonuses. It seems to be an interesting deal for the city where they're only providing 10,000 square feet of civic space, as opposed to if they were doing it through the regular public benefits process, they would have to provide 121,000 square feet, so they would be 12 times the public impact, the public benefit. If they were paying into the fund, we're talking about $2.8 million that they're getting away with not paying for the properties on Biscayne Boulevard. So, I mean, those are the overview. I could get into more specifics at that time, or Mr. Savage will, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Manager, I'd love to get an analysis from the planning director when this item comes up with regard to that suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Recio.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Watson.
Let me ask you a quick question, because I've heard this twice now. This comes to us from PZAB, right?
Correct.
So in PZAB, they don't let residents speak?
Yes, and some request intervener status to get a higher level of scrutiny to cross-examine both our staff as well as the applicant.
Yeah, but just when it goes out that they're never allowed to speak, it just makes it seem like during the course of the process, they're not allowed to speak, and that's not necessarily accurate.
Correct.
Okay, that's all. I just
Got
want to
it.
make sure that's on the
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, Mr. Gibbs.
Good
Long
morning.
time.
Yes, it has been a long time. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Tucker Gibbs with law offices at 3835 Utopia Court in Coconut Grove. I'm here representing the Bay Point Property Owners Association and who are at 405 Gate Lane near the area that is subject to the proposed amendment to the Miami Design District SAP and the development agreement. Now, my client has met with the applicant to discuss its concerns regarding the proposed amendment to both the SAP and the development agreement and their impacts on their neighborhood. But because these ongoing discussions, my client will make its presentation to the commission at second reading on the proposed ordinance and development agreement. And we just wanted to let you all know today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here for public comment on any of the remaining items on the agenda? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Closing public comment. Thank you very much for your patience and advocacy. We will now take on the day's agenda. I believe the mayor has a press conference at lunch on the environmental issues with regard to Earth Day. So I would like a motion on FR2 and FR5 if the will is there. Moved by Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Watson. This is FR2, which is the building energy and water consumption benchmarking, and FR5, the fertilizer amendment.
Hold on a second.
You have comments?
I have a question on it. Okay.
We'll open for discussion on the dais. There's been a motion and a second. And we'll take both items together.
Yes, I have a question with it. I want to know if this is when we are going, I haven't seen nothing against going to a building and seeing how efficient they are on it. But what I want to know, what is going to be the action that we have to take, that we're going to take? I mean, are we going to just go right ahead and tell them that you have to change and go and spend a lot of money on trying to make all the changes that we consider that you are missing? And if that's the case, what's the timeline that they're going to have? And I want that to be quite defined, and we need a lot of time. I mean, we have to provide everybody time.
It's got to be fair.
And that is a question that I have. I don't like to see things open that could be interpreted according to whoever is reading it.
Thank you. And I'd like to speak on this because this is an item that I'm sponsoring.
So,
go ahead, Commissioner Watson.
Since you sponsored, let me just ask, in the same vein with Commissioner Reyes, I mean, I don't know what's the point. Is this 20,000? I just want to know and make sure that we're not now heaping extra cost on the smaller guys. That's unfair, one. And I wasn't given those numbers or analysis of what we have and how that's affecting them. And then two, to ensure, unlike another process I guess I have to bring up, are we giving people the proper time to comply as opposed to it's due tomorrow? So
absolutely.
Thank you.
That's my only question.
Thank you very much. Those are very valid concerns. I'd like to address that, and then I'm going to hand it over to Colonel Dodd to give some specifics. And I'd like to thank his department because this is not a small piece of legislation. It is something that many cities in the country have taken on. But if we are to take the mayor's directive to vision to get us to a net zero carbon emissions, we need first to at least measure where we are. We need to know how we're doing as a city. And if we've never actually measured ourselves, it's very hard to improve. One is what we can do from the public sector, but we also want to give the tools to the private sector to make those to incentivize the appropriate behavior on reducing emissions, both water and energy. So this is organized by the federal government with regard to Energy Star ratings. And they have a free tool, a very easy online tool that any property owner or management company can just enter in their utility consumption every year. And you square that against their square footage, some simple factors just to say how efficient they are with their water and their energy. And so by creating this ordinance, we are asking all of our major construction, new and existing, to start doing this measurement. Then, every 5 years, they would see how they're doing. And they would get basically an Energy Star rating, a score. and it will be very apparent to them with recommendations on things they can do to become more efficient, but with no penalty if they don't. If it is on them, and I believe as business owners and landholders, they will see the advantage of the efficiencies that they will get on their utilities and beyond that, but there is no penalty for that.
You answered my question. My question, because I thought that we're going to make a law of every single building, how are they rated, and then we will come after them. And we have a lot of small bit. I mean, it's not small bit, but even if it is over 20,000 square feet, you see people that they're striving and they don't have the economic means to just go right ahead and change.
I thought of you specifically.
If we are going to request that they engage in changing all their deficiencies, and I think we should provide some help. And what I wanted to make clear is this is going to be a lot, but it's not going to be totally, any intent of enforcing it immediately or whatever. Before you try to enforce it, you have to come to the commission.
Commissioner, I thought of you specifically when sponsoring this ordinance, and I wanted to make sure that we are providing incentives rather than punishment. And I don't know that that's fully there yet, so I want to work with you and Mr. Dodd
I want to work
on second
with you
reading.
too, sir.
Because I think there should be not only incentives to reach those goals, but we should give them more than just an app. We should give them the resources.
Yeah.
If we really want to improve our city, we should be taking a further step than measuring, but actually incentivize. So, Colonel, if you've got any specifics on the implementation, and well, who this applies to and who it doesn't apply to, because hardship is another big issue. We don't want to put a burden on people unnecessarily. We want to give them tools and help, but we don't want to actually cause more trouble than we already do as a commission. So, Mr. Dodd, who does this apply to and when does it apply?
Okay, Alan Dodd from Department of Resilience and Public Works, and I'm joined here with Ace Marrero from the Building Department that this program would fall underneath. The program, Building Efficiency 305, would apply to any buildings that are 20,000 square feet or greater. That is both commercial and residential, primarily multifamily residential. They would go in and do the benchmarking starting in 2022, and that would be an annual requirement where they would go in, look at their water, electricity usage, and put it into the EPA's Energy Star portfolio to come up with their energy ratings, which would be reported to us.
Does that mean at the end of 22, they'll be submitting how they did in 22, or at the beginning of 22, they'll be submitting how they did in 21?
They will be submitting, right now it's scheduled to start on June 30th of 2022 for the previous year. And we would put out more implementing guidance exactly how the start and end dates and how they would be submitting through the building department.
Got it. So a little over a year from now, we'll start the measuring.
Yes, however, there is a lot that they will have to do, and I don't know, Ace, if you want to talk a little bit more about the steps the building department has to do in order to begin implementing the program.
Actually, before I go.
Just a moment, Ace, just a moment. Commissioner Diaz-Labortier, do you have a question for Director?
The microphone first.
Oh, the microphone. He's just concerned. Ace, if you want to use the other microphone, you guys can speak together. Colonel, why would this be housed under the building department versus the resilience department?
The reason it is there is because the resilience office has only got a few people in it, so we help to set the programs up working with different departments. And as we're looking at building management and operations, the building department was the natural fit to oversee that. They have the personnel who are experts in HVAC and electrical systems and can really help to not only get in these reports, but to make recommendations and help building owners to identify how to improve their efficiencies.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Ace. How are you?
Good morning, Commissioners. Ace Marrero, Building Director. In discussing the implementing of this particular program, I would like to offer a friendly amendment to the timeline, shifting it just by 6 months, slightly, around 6 months. Instead of July 2022 to October 1st, 2022 for the reporting component, and then for the enforcement, October 1st, 2023. The reason why, it's because we have to make several adjustments in our permitting system to be able to intake this new
Measurement.
measurement,
rating, yeah.
right? And we also have to work with IT to develop a mechanism to push that data out to our community. And we also have to train and retain qualified staff to manage the program. We do have the qualified staff already in the building department to review for the particular trades, for mechanical, electrical components, but the staff that will be required to manage the program itself would be new. So,
But you're open to it and you believe it's a worthy effort
Absolutely.
that the building department should take on?
absolutely, I think it's a perfect fit.
Have you considered, either department, who will be educating the public, the tower owners, the management companies, encouraging the use of the tool?
Absolutely, I think an outreach program, it's critical, and we will be more than happy in taking that lead with Alan Dodd and communications on that particular component.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Reyes, you're recognized.
Yes, now you're talking about hiring people, right? You need to hire additional personnel.
Yes, we do.
Do you have an estimate on how much do we have to spend in this program?
We're estimating that there will be around, to get the program started, at least 2 administrative staff, the professional staff to review and check for compliance. We already have that staff, but the administrative staff, we're thinking is 2 at the beginning of the program to fully, once the program is fully running, we're thinking it's around 4 administrative staff to manage that program.
Dollar-wise, how much?
2 BSA 2s and 2 BSA 3s. That's what we have assessed that will be
But
required.
how much is that going to cost? 200,000?
Salary-wise,
Salary-wise,
it's around $40,000 per person.
per person, and you got 4.
4 of them, yes.
But that is 40 without fringes. $40,000 salaries without fringes.
Without French benefits, that is
Okay,
correct.
that will be another percentage.
There will be maybe a 30% premium on top of that.
30% more, and so it's going to be around 60 per person.
Correct.
It's going to be around 240,000.
Yes,
That comes from general fund.
from the building permitting fees. We'll be able to sustain that. There will be a fee for this program as well.
Wait. Isn't there a restriction on what we can use the building and permitting fees?
Right.
Does this fall into what we can be used?
Besides, there will be a fee charge for this program as well that we will collect.
One second. Now you're getting me all confused. You see, now, let's make something clear. When you come to my building, you see I have an apartment building. Any apartment building has 20,000 square feet. Any, most of them, Little Havana and Liberty City and all of those old buildings. You come to my building and you say, hey, listen, you have to make an analysis of, what is your, how your efficiency rate, how are you rated, and the use of electricity, water, et cetera, et cetera. Do I have to pay anything? There will be a cost?
To the building owner?
To the owner.
The ordinance is not written so that there should be any cost to participate in the program.
Sir,
Yeah.
with all due respect, I like things clear.
Yeah.
You think there was a saying in Cuba said, clear water, clear things, conserve friendship. You see, I have to get this clear in my head and see how I'm going to.
You want to answer it, Mr. Dodd?
So there is a fee involved from the owner to obviously retain a design professional to make those calculations. So there's a fee incurred by the owner to generate that report.
Okay.
How much is that fee?
Okay. No.
Commissioners,
This is,
the
which report are you referring to that would incur a fee?
The energy efficiency report that gets submitted to the city.
My understanding is it's a free tool through which they enter data and that report is then submitted.
Yeah.
Mr. Dodd?
Commissioners, the tool from the EPA is a free tool. However, it will take one person approximately a day to collect the data and
Right.
input it into the program. So that would be the cost to a building owner. is that time that is invested
That's,
to prepare the report.
right, but is there a permitting fee involved?
No, no permitting fee
There is not
involved.
a permit.
So what's the fee you're referring to, Ace?
The fee that the owner is going to have to incur to generate that report.
It's, if
You
I
see
may,
what I'm saying?
if I may, if I may, for clarity, it's not a fee.
This is city
generated-
manager. I'm sorry,
Yes.
with masks, I have no
Yeah.
idea who's talking
It's,
sometimes.
it's not a fee generated by the city.
Correct.
It's a cost to the building owner, right?
Right.
Whatever, however they feel they're going to actually generate that data. They could do it with somebody in-house if they wanted, right? Or they could hire somebody from the outside to do it.
Mr.
But-
Chair?
But that's what it is, not a fee generated by the city.
You recognize Commissioner?
Yes, Mr. Manager, you can call it a cost or a fee, but it is a cash outlay that the property owner has to incur. You see, I mean, you can call it anything. You can, it be, I mean, it's prettier to say, well, it's your cost, but everything that when you pay it, and it is by law you have to pay it is a fee. I mean, here in every place. So there is an additional cost to that property owner, regardless of whether the apartment building or whatever building is. And I want to know how much is it. And another thing that I want to correct you, if I may, I might be wrong, but according to state statute, you cannot, and the limitation that we have on the use or on the building permits and for the building department fees, you cannot do that. You cannot hire anything that is not, related to building. You see, to the building department, right on the building department. And I know this because I'm fighting. I'm trying to pass an amendment to that law that will free some funds for the city of Miami from all the reserves that we have in the building department. And that's why I traveled to Tallahassee, and I almost got it, and I'm still alive. You see, and since I got here, I've been fighting for that. But you cannot now when you claim that we're gonna the cost. You see, our cost, the salary cost, is going to be covered by that fee. If I were you, I will make sure that could be done. If not, we'll have to come from general fund. You see? And that as an additional cost that we're going to have another burden that we're going to have in the general fund at a time that maybe our revenues are going to be short. You see? So, I don't know, Mr. Chair. There's a lot of things here that are not clear.
I hear your concern.
You see, I want to support you, man. But I want things to be extremely clear, and I know that you want it to be clear too.
Absolutely.
You see, so why don't we defer this and
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Watson, you're recognized.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, look, let me just say this. I know this is the day, and it's not with respect to any of us. I just want to understand. Maybe there's some things I didn't hear before, which is why I didn't ask the question. But I can say this. Are there any, first of all, let's go with the connectedness. We already have issues relative to bad units, bad whatever, right? Is 4 people going to be enough to enforce this? I don't know, right? I heard 40. Let's say it's 10 people. Because if you're not going to enforce it, why are we doing it, right? You thought it was a free tool. No cost, no fee. It should be a tool from IT. We ask for more time to do it. But if a building owner is now putting those numbers in, they should just be able to spit it out. That's the EPA tool you're thinking about, right? So I didn't know. Maybe I wasn't listening. Captain Dodd, that's my fault. I thought this was commercial facilities. Commercial mean commercial. If we're talking about residential now, I heard, affordable housing, is that an opt-out? Because they use water, and so is that an opt-out? Because it's already tight for them. We already have a problem. Tax runners coming here, prices going up, people trying to provide affordable housing. That's one more cost they have to bear. So I guess the question continues, what do we do relative to answering those questions for everybody? Because, of course, the lady who spoke on something that's not related to the agenda, it has to be done in the E-plans and so on and so forth. Because then if it's not clear, that's when we get all of the blowback from folks.
Mr. Dodd, can you answer those questions with regard to residential versus commercial and any opt-outs for exceptions on hardship or affordable housing?
Commissioner, it does apply to both residential, multifamily residential, and commercial buildings, anything that is 20,000 square feet or above. Within the requirements, it does have some exemptions, and I'm trying to find those in here that it specifically.
Section 8 is one of those exemptions, so those do not need to comply with the reporting requirements. And a little bit of a clarification in terms of residential buildings more than 3 units are automatically considered a commercial building. Even though they do house residential units by.
But the category of
They're categorized as a commercial building.
But the category of affordable housing gets an opt-out, or they still have to report and pay?
Say it again?
Does the category of affordable housing have an opt-out, or do they still have to report and pay?
The only section that's exempted right now is Section 8. I mean, I guess from now to second reading, we could evaluate other.
No?
Here's what I'd like to do, because these are very valid concerns that I would like to have addressed on second reading, and we would then defer second reading if we haven't solved them. But my goal is that we still measure the efficiency of affordable housing, but we don't make it a burden on the owners of affordable housing. So I'd like to look at what those costs are, even if indirect, if it's time, if it's whatever it takes for people to utilize the tool and learning the tool.
Plug in the numbers.
But I'm not trying to create more work and cost for those who are already having hardships. But we do want to measure them, because oftentimes those in affordable housing are some of the least efficient, and some of those utility improvements could actually really help make those units run more efficiently from a cost perspective, thereby bringing their costs down on affordable housing in the long run. So none of this mandates the actual changes. It's really just a measurement tool, but I hear the concerns of my fellow commissioners, and I would like those addressed on second reading so that we get this right. I really want to include more incentives that really help. And this may take some of our budget. We may need to look into where this comes from, whether it's within the Miami Forever bond, if that's applicable. This is a resiliency project. If we're to get to net zero, we need to measure ourselves, but we're not going to do it at the cost of those least fortunate in our community who already have plenty of burdens, both cost and time, on their shoulders. So my hope is that we bring up today the concerns. Commissioners are welcome to work with you between now and second reading on any additional concerns, and you have my word that we will get this right before we pass it on second reading. Commissioner Reyes.
Another question. You mentioned clearly, and I'm glad of that. At the beginning, I said, well, we should have incentives and for people to do to make any changes. Okay, but where those incentives are going to come from? Can you earmark those incentives from our bond issued for resiliency? Because I don't want to be taking money from from a general fund, you see, in order to do this. And this is a project that has to do with resiliency and all of that. I really hope that we can get funds from different programs someplace else in order for us to be able to go right ahead if we are going to ask anybody to do this, or if we have to pay our salaries and everything else.
Right. We have to be very smart where it comes from.
That's right. Because if we have to go dig our hands in our general fund, I will not vote for it.
This is not a difficult problem to solve. So for example, right now we have an ordinance. I believe Mayor Regalado brought it back in the day. Anyone who is putting solar panels on their building, their permit fees are waived. Let's say, for example, someone participates in this program, uses the tool, identifies the efficiencies they can make to improve their costs and efficiency and help the environment. Maybe we waive their permit fees for those particular improvements. And so it's not, they wouldn't have done them otherwise, so we're not losing revenue. And so maybe this is incentivizing the behavior we want without taking from the general fund.
Maybe we can get grants from the federal government that we can provide them at the cost of complying with it. That is fine with me. But what really concerns me is that we have, believe it or not, okay, because some people don't realize the need that they exist in the city of Miami. There are very small and not so well-to-do apartment owners. You see, people that had apartment houses in Little Havana, in Liberty City, and of Miami, whatever, that they are very old. See? And they had it from, maybe they inherited or they bought it, but they are not rich. They're striving. They're striving. And if we are going to come after them, because our mayor made a commitment that we have to go in 2050 and be all,
I agree with you.
I mean, it doesn't, if we make a commitment, we have to make a commitment with basis that we are going to benefit our people, and particularly those people that are in need. You see? And the funds are going to be there for us to help them. Okay?
You have my commitment. I agree with you.
Okay.
This can't be, and this is where the two worlds of philosophy sometimes collide, and we have to work together and think about the actual practical application and make it work for the people.
You know, I'm a real pragmatic. Maybe it's because of my discipline, you see, but I'm real pragmatic, and I know that we are very idealistic sometimes, and we say, okay, we're going to have, we reach to the moon, but how are we going to get there? And what are the consequences getting there? So I am.
Are you with me on first reading?
I am going to be with you on first reading with a caveat that all these questions are going to be answered between first and second reading. If they are not answered, and if I don't consider, I believe that we're going to be affecting the little guy, or those people that they have their small building or whatever building they have, and they're going to be affected with cost, as the mayor, the city manager referred to the fee, and that we are also placing more burden on our general fund, then I will vote against.
Understood, and I'm with you. I will work with both Mr. Marrero and Mr. Dodd to get this right, and I want it to be more than just a headline for the environment. I want it to work for our residents and not be a negative. So thank you very much. Is there any further discussion on FR2 and FR5?
Commissioner, before you do FR5, I need to put into the record that we did the fertilizer ordinance based on what was submitted by the county for their commission meeting. During their meeting 2 days ago, they did make one change on the floor, in particular on phosphorus loading, or rather nitrogen loading, where our current ordinance says 4 pounds per 1,000 square feet. They were going to drop that as a maximum of 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet. In the final version on the floor, they changed it to the 4. That equals what we currently have. So
the amendment would be for us to maintain our current standard of 4 on that particular.
Yes. So when we go to second reading, we'll be making some changes to the proposal to ensure that we are in alignment with what the county finally did pass on Tuesday.
Does the mover and seconder accept that amendment on FR5?
Accept that amendment. Mr. Chair, let me ask you a quick question.
Yes.
Mr. Dodd, are we going to have any agreement between the county and the school board on all the facilities they have? Is that going to be worked in some way?
Are there
to do the same thing?
Are there exemptions in the county ordinance with regard to their government properties on fertilizer application?
I don't have that in front of me.
We're going to look that up between now and second reading.
Okay.
Yeah, we should do as we tell others to do.
Yes. And Commissioner, we will definitely, with the building department, we will get with all of the districts and work with you on changes to both of these ordinances to make sure that we're best addressing the needs of our residents in the city.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion on FR2 and FR5? Hearing none, all in favor say yes, sir.
Chair. First, there was an amendment requested by the Director of Building, I think regarding the implementation date, but I don't know if the
Thank you. Mr. Dodd, do you agree with ACE regarding the date of implementation, moving it to October from the middle of the summer, or would you like to work that out between first and second interdepartmentally, and we'll bring the amendment on second reading?
I do agree with him in general, but I'd say between now and second reading, we'll have further discussion with the city manager's office and the administration.
Is that okay, Ace? We'll get it fixed between now and second reading?
That's okay.
All right. So no amendment at the moment. It may be amended on second reading.
Understood. FR2 as is, FR5 with the amendment requested by Director Dodd.
Correct.
Now, after we vote, I want to...
All right. Madam City Attorney, could you read the ordinances into the record, please?
Okay, FR2 first, correct?
Yes.
An ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 10 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida is amended titled Buildings to add a new Article 12 titled Building Energy and Water Consumption Benchmarking, requiring buildings over 20,000 square feet of gross floor area to perform and report annual energy and water benchmarking to the City of Miami, providing for exemption of certain building types, containing a severability clause, and providing for an immediate effective date.
FR5?
Then FR5, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 22.5, Article 7 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida is amended titled Green Initiatives, Florida-Friendly Fertilizer Use on Urban Landscapes, to require Florida-friendly landscape practices, to provide for compliance with the state of Florida laws, to provide for compliance with Miami-Dade County laws, to provide for definitions, and to provide for other general requirements contained in the ordinance containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. All in favor of the item say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. You're recognized, Mr. Reyes. Commissioner Reyes.
The storm water management report. I know there's going to be a presentation, but how can I participate in a presentation when I did not receive, I was not briefed, and I received 44 pages on Tuesday, and today after we asked for it, in the middle of the day, we received the full report. What can I say? How can I support something like that? And I want the city manager to take notice of this and make sure that next time that we're going to have a presentation or a press conference, that we're going to announce that what are we all going to do and how we're engaging, that every single commissioner will be briefed and all the questions should be answered from that data, and every single commissioner should understand what they is supporting or it is opposed.
Thank you. You know, the Stormwater Master
It cannot be
Plan.
like that.
Stormwater Master Plan is probably the biggest thing we've taken on in the last 4 years.
Absolutely, absolutely. But that is why it is very important. Mr. Chair, this is extremely important. And it's extremely important that all of us, know about it. Because even in that report, it's telling them, they are prioritizing certain projects, you see, that could be in yours or mine or whatever, and we need time to discuss it.
I haven't been briefed yet either. On the Stormwater Master Plan results, I have not been briefed yet either.
You haven't been briefed. How can we participate on it?
There's no item on the agenda approving, though, the master plan at this point,
No,
correct?
but when we,
Chair, can we come back at 3?
We could. So could we pass one more item before lunch, RE9, since we dispensed with PZ12? This is simply giving the city attorney direction to file a declaratory action regarding the dispensary appeal and interpretation of state versus federal law.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Reyes, moved by Commissioner Carollo, seconded by Commissioner Reyes.
Hold on a second.
Open for discussion.
Thank you. Can you be more specific on what you want to do, Madam Attorney? And why you want to do it?
Yes, Commissioner. I feel that there's a discrepancy or a conflict between state and federal law, and I just want to ask a court of law to opine on that.
One more question. Have any of the 31 states that have passed either recreational or medicinal marijuana done the same thing?
I'm not sure if they have, but I cannot give you advice to open or allow marijuana dispensaries until we have a little more clarification. That's all. And remember, you can always do anything you want, regardless of what advice I give you.
And what's the cost to the city of this additional legal action that you're seeking now?
It wouldn't be an additional cost. It would be borne within the duties of this office and the services we give you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It is actually amazing that there's over 1,000 cities in the country operating without any clarity, and nobody has ever sought this interpretation.
We should.
It is.
This is why we're the city of Miami. Fast and furious.
All right, is there any further discussion on RE9? Seeing none, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Madam City Attorney. You'd like to break for lunch? 3 o'clock, we will return. Thank you all very much for your patience. Good morning. 3 o'clock. Yes, we return at 3.
#88-499-0840.